I'm Brian Bender, and let's queer up politics. Tucker Carlson and Marjorie Taylor Greene say that they are done supporting the Republican Party. Former Fox News host Tucker Carlson and Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia say they are no longer supporting the Republican Party, citing disagreements over U.S. policy toward Israel and Iran. In a recent broadcast, Carlson announced he was leaving the party after decades as a Republican supporter.
I would not support the Republican Party. There's no chance I would support the Republican Party. I'm not going to support the Democratic Party. I don't know what I'm going to do. But at this point, how could I or any American voter support a political party that's not loyal to the United States, that puts the interests of a foreign country above those of its own citizens? It's not possible to vote for people like that, and I'm not going to. And I think I voted Republican my entire life. I worked at Fox News, CNN, right, MSNBC. I've been a consistent defender for 35 years of the Republican Party. I mean, very consistent defender. But there's no defending this because it's immoral, and it's exactly the opposite of what a political party in a democracy is charged with doing, which is representing its own voters, its own citizens, its own nation, and they're not doing that. So no, I'm out. And if I'm out, then I think a lot of other people are out.
He went on to argue that U.S. support for Israel had drawn the country into an ongoing conflict with Iran. Soon, Greene echoed Carlson's frustration in a social media post, writing, quote, "Tucker is not the only one who is done supporting the Republican Party. There is a lot of us that are absolutely fed up and will not support a party that betrays its voters and country. That does not mean we're turning into Democrats either, but we are done with the America Last Republican Party," end quote. Greene's comments suggest her criticism is directed at the party's current leadership rather than signaling support for Democrats. Their remarks come as some conservative commentators have publicly criticized President Donald Trump over his handling of the conflict with Iran, exposing growing divisions within parts of the Republican base over U.S. foreign policy. We know that Marjorie Taylor Greene is what do they grow in don't they grow nuts in Georgia somewhere? She is just like a homegrown pecan. Yep. She is just one big nutty girl.
She's no peach.
Yeah, she's no peach, that's for sure. Tucker Carlson, there's a lot of insinuation that he's receiving Qatari money. The Qataris are all over U.S. foreign policy. They're all in the educational space to try to dominate certain narratives. I'm not saying that foreign governments don't do the wrong things. I'm not saying that, Israel is always 100% justified. But he's getting very dangerously close to the place where he's not in the mainstream of the Republicans, he's not in the mainstream of the Democrats, and he's really appealing to a certain minority of the population that are either extremely anti-Semitic, and it's not a becoming look for him. This is a guy that grew up on like Swanson frozen food money. His father was a very, very wealthy man. I know that that's neither here nor there, but this is a guy that has had access to a lot of education. And I think what he's doing is incredibly dangerous, whether or not you agree with Israel or not. And you don't have to, and that doesn't make you anti-Jewish. I think he's quite crossed over a line because him and Candace Owens are like besties. Yeah. And it's funny. She says, I never talk about Israel. And then I saw a post where in like the course of like over a year, she mentioned Israel like 432 times. Yes. So that's the league he's in right now.
It's always interesting that he says that the Republicans are betraying Republicans and not betraying citizens, all the citizens. They've been doing that for years, over many years, and he's just targeting just all Republicans. No, they betrayed everybody across the board, and now he's trying to realize it.
Sure.
Leaving the Republican Party, big whoop. I keep waiting for Tuck the Cuck to announce he's leaving the planet. Ooh. Maybe he could take MTG, Candace Owens, Megyn Kelly, and maybe Peter Thiel with him. I mean, oh my God, boo fucking who?
I wouldn't cry. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight.